Hey everyone, welcome back to the Foundations in Pre-Calculus 10 videos. In this video, we're going to look at Lesson 5 from Chapter 3, which is looking at polynomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. So just to quickly talk about this form here, when we're looking at the letters b and c, those just represent any kind of number like 2 or 7. So if we want to show an example of this polynomial, it might be x squared plus 3x minus 4. So b and c just represent whole numbers, whether or not they're positive or negative. So in this video, we're going to look at specifically a process called FOIL, and this here really only works when we're working with two binomials. And when I say working with, I mean multiplying them. And so two binomials are essentially where we have two terms within that polynomial. So say, for example, we had x plus 3 as one polynomial, and the other one is 4x minus 1. So these here we're multiplying two binomials, and they're binomials because each one has two terms. So normally using the distributive process, or the distributive property, it's quite a lengthy process, but if we were to use the process called FOIL, it saves us about 2 steps, which you might only say it's 2 steps, but essentially it makes a big difference. So according to the word FOIL, F stands for the word first. That means that we multiply the first terms in each of the brackets. So we would go x times 4x. X times 4x would give us 4x squared. Then we go to O, meaning outside, which means you multiply the terms that are on the outside of the terms. So we go on the outside, so be x and negative 1. So x times negative 1 is negative 1x, or just negative x. Then I stands for inside, which means it's the terms that are on the inside. So 3 times 4. 3 times 4 would give, or 3 times 4x, is positive 12x. So then our last one, letter L, if you couldn't guess, stands for last. So that means that we multiply the last terms in the brackets. So we go 3 times negative 1, which would give us negative 3. From that point on, then we just combine our like terms, which in this case are usually just our middle two terms. So 4x stays the same. Then we can combine negative x plus 12x, which would give us negative 11x. Then we can bring down our negative 3. So essentially what happens is that when we multiply these two binomials, we get the polynomial 4x squared minus 11x minus 3. So now we're going to look at two examples from your notes, which is 1b and 1c from your notes. So here we're going to multiply the binomials 5 minus s and 9 minus s. And we're going to use our FOIL property to help us out. So keeping in mind with our FOIL process, we're first going to multiply our first terms. So we're going to go 5 times 9. 5 times 9 is 45. Then we'll do O for outside, which is 5 times negative s. Don't forget this negative symbol along with that s. I know right now it stands for subtract in your binomial, but this makes it a negative s when we're trying to distribute. So you have 5 times negative s, which makes us negative 5s. Then we do our inside terms, which is negative s times 9, giving us negative 9s. And then L, standing for last, is negative s times negative s. Negative times a negative makes a positive, and s times s is s squared. Then we can combine our two like terms. We have negative 5s and negative 9s. Bring down your 45. We haven't done anything with that. Then we can combine our negative 5s minus 9s to give us negative 14s, and then bring down our positive s squared because we haven't done anything with it. As soon as you've combined all your like terms, then you guys are all done that question, and we can move on to letter C. So here we have the binomials 3n plus 2 times n plus 3. Once again, we're going to use FOIL, so I'll write that off to the side just so I can remember my process. And F here stands for our first terms. So we have 3n times n, which is 3n squared. O stands for outside, so I'm going to go 3n times 3, which is positive 9n, so I'll separate that with a plus sign. I stands for inside, so we're going to have 2 times n, which is positive 2n. And then L stands for last, so we'll go 2 times 3, which is positive 6. Then we're going to combine our like terms. And here in this case, we have 9n and 2n. So we're going to bring down this 3n squared. I'm going to combine our 9n and 2n to make 11n. And I'm going to bring down this plus 6. So essentially, as we know, our FOIL process is essentially just a fancy way or little shortcut of doing our distributive property, and this only works with binomials. So it has to be 2 terms times 2 terms. So that is everything here for this video. If you guys have any questions, make sure to come see me in class or text me on Remind 101. And thank you guys so much for watching.